the way that the skills are kind of broken up, there's a national security triangle, and it's not easy to find, but it's out there if you dig into some of the documentation about statecraft and government policy. But there's a national security triangle, and at each of the points of the triangle, there's a different element. There's power is one element, influence is another element, and security is the third element. As a CIA officer and as any national security professional, you're taught these three elements that create the national security triangle because you're taught and trained to put every decision through which of these three categories does your decision apply to, and it gives people a common language that they can use. So if I'm talking to you and you're at NSA and we're talking to somebody who's on the Hill and whatever else, we're using the same terminology. When I left CIA, I realized that that same national security triangle applied to everyday life. Only the words weren't the same words that we use. We don't talk about power, influence, and security. What we talk about are wealth, health, and relationships. And each of those disciplines align to the national security triangle in everyday life, just like a hand in a glove. Because then when you start to break down all of the training and all of the education that CIA taught me about that national security triangle, it just fits under these different headings. Wow. So Everyday Spy was built the same way. So my company is really just a replica of CIA, built to serve the constituents, built to serve the average person, instead of being built to serve elite operators.
Do you find yourself, so obviously you've become adept in a number of these skills, both through your training and now through your teaching. Do you find yourself unconsciously using them? I mean, because again, these skills are psychological and relational. Do they just become embedded in your basic character, like day to day? And what has that experience been like?
Yeah, they do. They become part of who you are. Just like, I mean, guitar players and piano players and mathematicians, like they learn how to do things without even thinking about them. So we certainly learn a number of skills. I wouldn't say necessarily on a subconscious level, but certainly on an unconscious level. You're not consciously aware that you're doing the thing until you turn your attention towards the fact that you're doing the thing that you're doing. And it's been an interesting journey. The real powerful part of it happened when I left CIA, and my wife left CIA with me, thank God, because she's my best friend in the world now. And part of that is not because we're like a perfect married couple, and it's not because we're best friends, because we're like lifelong partners. Anybody who's been married longer than 3 years knows that marriage is a pain in the ass. But we are both former CIA officers that have been removed from CIA. So if we want to surround ourselves with anything like the people that we used to work with, and there are some amazing people at CIA, the only option we have is to work together. Right. So she's my outlet to continue to connect with that caliber of person, and I'm her connection to that caliber of person still. And when I say that caliber of person, what I mean is the level of investment in a stronger United States, the level of intelligence and critical thinking skills and ability to kind of separate yourself from the hype. That's what we become for each other. And it's a lonely existence because you learn how to read when people are lying to you, when they're interested in you. You learn how to read when people are stressed or when they have anxiety, and you know how to fix it, and you want to help them fix it, but you also know that most people want to talk about fixing and never actually. Right. So then you're always asking yourself, like, who's worth the investment of my time and energy, because they're actually going to act on what I teach them.
But now you have this filtering mechanism, which is your business, right? Will people put skin in the game and actually invest in learning the skills that you have to offer?
Exactly right. And that's the thing that I love about business. Business is the opportunity for all of us to give what we have and meet the level of the investor who's coming back in. The person who pays the most is showing the most investment in leveraging the skills they learn from you. It's very easy to prioritize that person and invest back in them. And even as you're doing that, you're creating product, you're creating productivity, GDP that's improving the economy and continuing to make the America a stronger country, or the world a stronger world.
Well, and most fundamentally, because you're actually improving the individual market actors, right, at their basic psychological makeup or the tools they have to deal with the world. What's the old saying that there's no better place to invest than in yourself? Because as pays the most dividends in everything that you do.
Right. And I'm sure you've seen the same thing. I mean, you don't have a podcast because you're trying to be selective in who you help. You have a podcast so that you can help as many people as possible.
Yeah.
And because you know that only a small percentage of all the people you reach are going to put skin in the game, learn a new skill, put themselves through the discomfort of learning and applying and growing. So you cast the widest net to give the most people the opportunity to grow.
Yes.
But they're the ones that have to act on it.
If you like this short clip, make sure you click here to see the next clip or here to see the full podcast episode.
Freedom! So fresh, so new. Freedom!